Hi, in this video I'm going to be covering my AEW On-Card Collection. So we learned earlier this summer, I believe it was, that Jazzwares would no longer produce this line, which is a bummer. Some people I think are still in a little bit of denial about this. I know personally they've been off the pegs at my local stores, Walmart and Target, since the end of last year. Everything got clearanced out. There was one big restock like on Christmas Eve, and then never again. You can still order them on Ringside Collectibles and places like that, but in terms of finding them in the wild, that's going to be few and far between. Every now and then I'll see a video where someone finds one, or maybe at some secondhand stores you might be able to find them. But in terms of just going to your Target, Walmart, in most cases, you're not going to see them. Okay, so my oldest on card is Rio. And Rio was like the classic peg warmer from this line. She was from one of the early series. She was from series 3, and she just stayed on those pegs like forever. It's not a bad figure. I think it's, as a figure, it's totally fine. So as I mentioned, this is from series 3. If we look at series 3, you can also see Pac. He was there. He had some other figures too. Orange Cassidy. I ended up getting an Orange Cassidy, but it wasn't this one. It was later in series 8. And Darby Allin and the Young Bucks. Skipping ahead a few series. A lot of times I'll have opened these, but these are the ones that I have that are still on card. So now we're up to series 6. Walmart had these forever. Target had them for a bit. And some of these figures just never ever moved, and Jake Hager is a perfect example of this. I actually didn't get this one from Target or Walmart. I got it from Burlington for $5.99. So a lot of people have talked about how they're able to find or were able to find these figures at a discount at places like Ross. That was the case for me as well. So series 6 I think was a really nice set. So I actually have this whole set. Most of them are open at this point. Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, MJF, Sheeta, and then the Lucha Bros. So one of the things about the AEW line is once AEW wrestlers started moving over to WWE, it was a great way to get a figure representative of those characters way in advance. So we're just now, the last couple of months, starting to see like Penta figures. But if you had some of these Penta figures from the AEW line, then you didn't have to wait all that time to have a Penta figure. They might have a different look that you want now, but you didn't have to wait as long to get something. Also from Series 6, MJF. MJF had quite a few figures come out. He was in 2-packs, all those kind of things. This is the one that I have from Series 6. Series 7 was another series that just stayed in the pegs, more so at Target in my experience, forever. Nyla Rose was one of the characters from that series. Let's take a look. Who else was in that series? Lance Archer. He's got a cool look, so it's like, I don't know, it's kind of exciting to have that represented, but it's just not a character that was in high demand. And that's one of the issues with this line, is some of the choices in terms of who is developed. We've also got FTR. So those were great figures, or are great figures. Another set of the Young Bucks already. They were in Series 3. Now they're back in Series 7. And then this is the Nyla Rose. Moving on to Series 9. There's Brian Cage. He just doesn't feel important enough. I'm sorry, but he doesn't feel important enough to have a figure. I think what AEW could have used was something like a main event line for characters like this. So Series 9 got Brian Cage. We got some other some heavy hitters in here. We have some good figures in this series. Eddie Kingston, Ricky Starks, Christine Cage, Thunder Rosa, Powerhouse Hobbs. This is another set that I bought most of them. They were at Walmart forever, it seemed like. A little bit at Target as well. But if you look at Brian Cage compared to these other characters, I just feel like he doesn't quite measure up. If you're a big Brian Cage fan, and I'm sorry about that, But I just think in comparison to these other characters, they're just much larger characters that people are going to want a lot more. So if you read the little blurb, Rampage, if you remember the show Rampage that came on Friday nights, that was like a secondary show before Collision. So then we skip ahead several series, all the way to series 15. So after series 9, I hadn't seen hardly any of these in my local stores forever, for like a year. And then all of a sudden, they stock series 15 and they put it directly on clearance. And this was a really nice series. So here's Saraya Page. So you can see the clearance sticker. So she started out not at $20, but at $10. We've got Samoa Joe, Ethan Page. So this Ethan Page was great since he was already over in NXT at the time. So the best way to get an Ethan Page character was just to buy this from Series 15. Daniel Garcia, I think that's the only figure he ever got. A variant of the Devil, MJF, another Chris Jericho, and then Saraya, which is this figure. So then again, it was several months until I saw the next wave of figures, Series 16. And then I actually saw not Colton Gunn, but I saw Austin Gunn and some of the other characters from that series. That was really exciting because it's like, oh, we haven't seen these in the stores for a really long time. So we got the Gun Club in Series 16, Julia Hart, the Hardy Boys, another Orange Cassidy, Takeshita, and then, yeah, as I mentioned before, the Gun Club. So there was a chase, Orange Cassidy, in this series, but also Takeshita was a chase, but you could only get him as a chase. So I was never able to find him. I did see the chase Orange Cassidy, but I'm not somebody that goes after the chase figures, so I actually left it for someone else that might have cared a little bit more. A little bit later, you'll see that I have one chase figure, but it's not something I pursue. So there's Colton Gunn. Austin Gunn's already been opened. There's Julia Hart, really nice looking figure from the same series. And then it wasn't until this last Christmas season, this last Christmas Eve, that I saw the final restock at my local Targets for Series 17. And I bought up several of these at once. So I saw Willow Nightingale. That had been a figure I'd been wanting for a long time. This is where I finally was able to get a Ricky Starks. Adam Copeland I skipped on because I got the last Mattel Edge and I was happy with that. This Christian Cage I skipped on as well. This Kill Switch I skipped on because I have the Luchasaurus and I just didn't want to do that. And then this Swerve I skipped on as well, and you'll see why in just a little bit. So Series 17 was really nice, but it was the last, at least I personally, ever saw in retail. Series 18. So now that I was no longer seeing these at Target or Walmart, I was willing to do online orders for Series 18. I didn't buy the whole set, but I did buy Okada. It's a nice looking figure. There's another Samoa Joe. I did buy Mark Briscoe. There's a different look for Jack Perry, but I didn't go for him. I didn't feel like I needed Jeff Jarrett, but I did get Mariah May. So by this time, of course, she was in NXT as Blake Monroe. We're just now starting to see the Blake Monroe main event series. So a way to get ahead of that was to pick up this Mariah May. So that's all my on-card Unrivaled. Next, I'm going to take a look at my on-card Unmatched and some other figures. Okay, so now I want to look at my Unmatched on-card collection. I remember the first time I saw Unmatched. I was driving home. It was kind of at night. I just wanted to stop by Target. Just something told me I should stop by Target, so I did. I usually do my toy hunts and I usually do my checking in the afternoon and the morning and things like that. But this time I went in the evening, and they had Unmatched Series 1 on the pegs, and it was so exciting. I had been looking for and hoping for a Britt Baker for a while at the time, but then we can look at the rest of this series. Got Kenny Omega. That's actually the Kenny Omega I got. I actually didn't pick him up the night I saw these. I went back the next day because I regretted not picking him up. Darby Allin. That's the Darby Allin I have to this day. Rusev, who stayed on the pegs for a really long time, but I never picked him up. Miro at the time. Here's the Britt Baker. Dustin Rhodes, I have this figure as well. And then LJN style Cody Rhodes. I didn't pick that up. But I did get the Kenny Omega, I did get the Darby Allin, and I did get this figure and the Dustin Rhodes. But I haven't opened this one yet. So Series 1 was exciting. So of course it would be exciting when we saw Series 2. These were both Target and Walmart. I saw them more at Walmart, and they were just on the pegs forever. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it's the lineup and what was going on at the time with AEW, but these just did not sell at all. Didn't seem like. So let's look at Series 2. So this first one that you see on card is Ortiz. Santana had a nice run in TNA since he left AEW. Now he's having a run in NXT as Cruz Montana. But Ortiz just not as popular in my opinion. Tay Conti, same thing. Wardlow at times was really popular when this came out. This was really exciting to get a Wardlow figure. He just didn't pan out. I opened this one. I have another one that you'll see in a second. But he just didn't hold on to that momentum that he had. Another MJF. And then maybe the crown jewel of this set was Sting. And eventually I even saw this. I thought I would never ever see this on the shelf at Target or Walmart. A couple times I did. I actually ended up ordering it online because I just thought it would never ever make it to the shelf, but it did. So there's a Tay Conti. It is a nice figure. I mean, these are nice figures, but it's just they were not appealing to collectors, or at least in the wild collectors. So we get to Series 3, and these figures have a good look, but they weren't the most prominent characters in AEW. So this was a theme set for the Dark Order. Here you can see Stu Grayson. Let's look at everyone that was included. Like the heavy hitter in this set was Mr. Brody Lee. I saw even him a couple of times. He was another one I didn't expect to see. I didn't order him online, but when I did see him, I snatched him up. Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, John Silver, all good looking figures. Anna Jay as well. These again were on the pegs for just a really long time. And I just wonder how much of these figures not moving or seemingly not moving contributed to them no longer being carried in the wild at retail and discontinued altogether. So as you can see, I haven't opened a whole lot of these. I've opened Mr. Brody Lee. I've opened Anna Jay, but the rest of them I haven't. So then we're going to see a huge jump. I saw some Series 4 at times. Maybe I'll talk about them at a different point. But after that, I didn't see them as regularly. Here and there I'd see a wave, but nothing that was super interesting. So the next one I have here is Series 11. This is Jay White. So Jay White's been a prominent character on AEW TV. So this is a nice figure to have. I think he has a couple different versions. So I think this one looks pretty good. Series 11, what else do we get? We get some of these alt versions of Sting, like the old WCW Sting. Another Darby Allin, a Will Ospreay, so this was exciting. That Will Ospreay is probably looking a lot more basic compared to some of the other figures that came out, like the Supreme Edition. And then Sky Blue. And I think that's a great figure, and I actually have it. And I have it right here. So there's Sky Blue. She was also in Series 11. She was part of the online order that I did with Unrivals 18, because I never ever saw her at retail. Really nice looking figure, in my opinion. So the next one I have, this is from Series 6. This is my one and only Chase. And this is CM Punk. Sometimes I wonder, for this AEW line, does the sticker make them feel more rare than they actually are? So it tells you it's 1 of 5,000. Are they actually more rare than a Mattel Chase? So if you like the different gear, if you like the different colors, that's great. Go and get a Chase. But it's usually going to be a premium for that, and I just don't care about it that much. So it's not something that I'm usually looking for. If they're both there and one looks better than the other and they're the same price, then sure, I'll take the chase if I like the look of the chase better. But I'm not seeking out scarcity or rarity. So in Series 6, this is actually Series 8. We have another Penta Oscuro. We have Brody Lee. We have suited Malachi Black. And I just feel like suited figures they're not as popular. I could be wrong, but in my opinion, they're just not as popular. And then Buddy Matthews. I actually picked up the last Mattel Buddy Murphy. So I didn't feel like I needed this figure for that reason. And that's kind of the situation we're in now. If they produce a figure that's the last time in the line, someone like JC Mateo, someone like the Motor City Machine Guns, they're just not going to produce anymore. You know there's not going to be a company, at least for now, that's going to produce them. So it makes sense to pick them up if it's something you want. The last few figures are these like Target specialty pay-per-view limited editions. These were cool. It felt like they kept doing the same characters that they had done a bunch of times over and over. The nicest thing about these is they would get clearanced out eventually. So I've got 4 still on card. There's a couple that I've opened. Samoa Joe, Adam Cole. So the first one that I have here is Wardlow. Here he is with the TNT title. A little different look compared to the Unmatched. If we look on the back, there's not really a series. So you get a full-size picture with autograph and all that kind of thing. It'll tell you the show that it's based on. So All Out, AEW All Out. Moving on, Hangman Adam Page. So this figure is exciting because there were more than one other, but the AEW figure that really that I think of when I think of Adam Page is the one with the cowboy shirts and the jeans that was just on the pegs forever. At times it would get clearanced and then maybe unclearanced, and it just didn't move. This at least has wrestling gear, comes with an AEW World Title, so I think that's cool. Maybe at some point I'll break him out of the box. Here's Sting again. So we had the Unmatched Series 2 Sting that I thought would never show up in retail, but it did. This one was in retail and stayed in retail for quite a long time. I don't know if I got the full $5.99 clearance on this one. Maybe I bought it at $9.99, but it certainly did get clearanced out a little bit. And the last of all my AEW on cards is Swerve Strickland. This is a figure I wanted for a long time. I never saw him in retail until this pay-per-view limited edition for Full Gear. So this is a nice looking figure as well, and I'm sure I'll open it at some point. There's Prince Nana as well on that. And that's it. That is my AEW on-card collection. So I have a couple questions for you. One is, what is your favorite AEW Jazzwares figure? Second, what's an AEW Jazzwares figure that you saw that you didn't pick up or that you missed out on, even if you didn't see it? Just one that you wish you had been able to get, but you missed out on. For me, the answer to that is Shawn Spears. I would have liked to have gotten the Shawn Spears figure. I don't know if I saw him. Maybe I saw him once before he showed up in NXT, but after he showed up in NXT, I really wish I could have gotten that figure. And then my third question is, who's someone that didn't get produced in this line that you wish could have been produced? For me, it's Tekla. I think she would have been a really cool figure, and then you could team her up with Julia Hart, Sky Blue, and all of that. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.